During the American Revolution, General Francis Marion of South Carolina, or sometimes referred to as the Swamp Fox, once invited a British officer into his camp to discuss prisoner exchange. Following the discussion, Marion went on to invite the officer to dinner. Accepting the proposal, Marion and the officer made their way over to the dinner table, on which sat a simple heap of potatoes. The officer turned to Marion and stated that if this was all that they had to eat, then Marion and his men must be making a good deal of money to make up for this shabby living. Marion replied that on the contrary, he nor his men had ever received $1 for fighting. Dismayed, the officer then asked what Marion, his men, or the rest of the colonists were fighting for. Marion replied, "For the love of liberty." This story, like so many others during the Revolutionary War, exemplifies the love and the bravery that our founding fathers and patriots possessed. But this bravery, that is so well known to us all, did not simply end on the battlefield. No, their greatest valor was in their pen. You see, ladies and gentlemen, beyond the stories of the Revolutionary War or of the writing and the signing of the Constitution lies something deeper. This something is the knowledge and the foresight that our founding fathers used in the creation of the government. Our Constitution has so many examples of this knowledge and foresight, but one of the greatest is by far Article 5, which is what we are going to take a look at today. Article 5 of the Constitution outlines the guidelines for the making and passing of amendments, but there are several key aspects within this one article that we need to take a look at. First, the writers did not simply leave this task to Congress, but instead created a system in which states could also make and pass amendments. For example, Article 5 does indeed state that if 2/3 of both houses deem it necessary, then Congress may make and pass amendments. But it also states that if 2/3 of several state legislators deem it necessary, then a convention may be held to also make and pass amendments. By giving the states this power, the founding fathers were simply furthering the checks and balances within our government. Although an Article 5 convention has never been held, appeals for such a convention have changed our nation. For example, over 750 appeals from every state except Hawaii have been made. And in addition, the 17th, 21st, 22nd, and 25th Amendments were all ratified by Congress because the states threatened to hold a convention. As a result, we can see the success of the Founding Fathers' foresight. But secondly, beyond the success of this one article or the knowledge that amendments would need to be made, the Founding Fathers realized something extremely important. They realized that they themselves were not perfect, and thus they would not create a perfect government. So far, there have been 26 changes or amendments to this government, 10 of which the original Founding Fathers created themselves. The Constitution was indeed far from perfection, but because of the Founding Fathers' knowledge and foresight, there have been able to be amendments. But often, we forget the principle that yes, these men were wonderful writers and patriots, but they were also simply that, men. They were not demigods as Jefferson suggested, and they realized this themselves in the creation of Article 5. In remembering and upholding the Constitution, it is important for us to recognize, yet not idolize the writers. As Francis Marion stated, they fought for simply the love of liberty, and they carried this liberty over into every aspect of their lives. In the end, they would not wish for us to concentrate on them, but on the result of their efforts. They freed a nation, they created a government, and they loved liberty. Our responsibility as the present generation is to further this liberty, even if it means amending the Constitution. Thank you.